News.
Tonight, Peja Stojakovic with the slam, Kings by 13. Kings up 17 now. Stojakovic pulls up and drops down a 3-ball. And by the third quarter, the Kings were way out of reach. Chris Webber with the alley-oop slam. Kings winning 118-82. The next streak is over. We're back after the break.
Hello again. The Dallas Mavericks continue to dominate in the NBA. On Sunday, they racked up their 6th straight win. And there was a worrying moment for the Clippers' Lamar Odom there. He injured his tailbone in a fall. Fortunately, he was okay. And the LA forward recovered to score 17 points on the night. A nice drive and layup there. But they still trailed by 5, and the Mavs really stretched their legs to open up a big lead in the third quarter. Steve Nash got it to Dirk Nowitzki for the slam, and Dallas were up by 13 points. They say they like close games, though, and so they blew that lead totally. In the fourth, Odom passed to Corey Maggette for the alley-oop, and the Clippers led by 2. But Dallas finished with all guns blazing. Raif Lafrentz was there for the rebound and slam, and the Mavs are still the best on the road. They took this one by 6 points.
Games, their latest victims were the Vancouver Grizzlies. Big slam here by Chris Webber early in the first quarter. Later in the first, Mike Bibby finds the cutting Keon Clark for the slam. Kings had 32 assists in the game. Always makes it easier to score when there's a lot of passing going on. Webber leads the break in the second quarter, passes to Bibby, who gets it to Doug Christie, back to Webber for the slam. He had 22 points, 10 rebounds. The only bright spot for the Grizzlies, Pau Gasol, the Spanish international, with 26 points, 12 rebounds. That's the jump hook to go there. But the Kings seal it late. Divac finds the cutting Predrag Stojakovic, who had a season-high 30 on the night. Sacramento with the victory. Here are the rest of the NBA score.
Got involved in the first quarter as Houston built a lead of up to 13 points. The Chinese giant hit 10 points on the night. Here he is pulling up to drain the jumper. Boston have dropped 6 straight in Houston, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. Paul Pierce, who led the Celtics with 24 points, felt they had played well enough to win, and they were level in the third when Antoine Walker pulled up to shoot 3 of his 23 points. It was good, and the scores were tied at 61 each, but the Rockets were just too good down the home stretch, and they made sure of the win with some great plays to take it by 101 points to 92. Anthony Peeler was the difference between the Nuggets and the Wolves. He came off the bench to hit a season-high 20 points to give Minnesota the home win. But despite that last gasp 3 in the first, they trailed the Nuggets by 14 points. It was slightly closer by the end of the second when Jawan Howard heaved a prayer that was answered to beat the buzzer and keep Denver 4 points up. But they stalled offensively in the second half. The same cannot be said for Kevin Garnett here, who took on all 5 Nuggets players on his way to the bucket. A monster slam for him. He scored 14 points with 15 rebounds, and the Wolves took this one 89-75. Wally Zerbiak landing a great jumper there.
And Memphis in California, Pau Gasol missing, but the rebound comes out to Jason Williams, who nails it in. Warriors on the attack, and it's Anton Jamison for 2 of his 20 points. Also in the fourth, Gasol takes the inbound pass and dishes to Gordon Giricek, and he nails the shot with 1 second left. Giricek with 22. Last chance for the Warriors. Gilbert Arena takes the inbounds pass, but he can't get it to go. Arenas with the air ball, and the Grizzlies hold on to win by 2.
Houston lead by 13 points. Steve Francis did most of the damage, though. The Rockets were further ahead when he pulled up and dropped 3 of his 26-point tally. Now, apologies to Bucks fans, but there really isn't anything worth showing from your team. In the fourth now, and Ming with the putback. He treated his parents to 16 points, and he played in Coutinho Mobley for the jam as the Rockets opened up a 24-point lead. And there was even a bit of New Year's Eve showboating from Kelvin Cato. Yao loved every bit of it as they ended the year on a high. Winners by 103 points to 80. Now, it's been a long time since Philadelphia won on the road. In fact, they hadn't won anywhere in 3 games, but Allen Iverson inspired them to break that run against the LA Clippers. Keith Van Horn scored 19 points and was involved in a crucial fourth-quarter spell. Eric Snow took charge of the offense in the dying stages and led by example, a sweet layup, and by the time he played in Van Horn for another bucket, the Sixers were up by 6 points. The Clippers tried their best to stay in contention. Lamar Odom drove, but found only fresh air. Elton Brand followed it up for the score, cutting the deficit to 4 points. But Iverson ensured Philly's victory, their first away from home since November, when he drained the jumper. 27 points for him, and the Sixers won by 8. His best team to Sacramento, but the Kings had no respect for Dallas, and the Mavs just didn't know what hit them in the first quarter. Chris Webber there and Peja Stojakovic combined for 20 points in that period. And a rare experience for Nowitzki. He was robbed as Sacramento stormed into a 12-point lead. 16 points for Mike Bibby. He went 1 point better than Nowitzki, who tried to rally his troops. And this is a great move, trailing Stojakovic in his wait for the dunk. But the Yugoslav forward got payback with a 3 here. He landed 23 points, much to the delight of his teammates. And the team that made a stuttering start to the season were now in full flow. Vlade Divac with the slam there. But the man that led the rout for the Kings was Chris Webber. Watch as he goes in for the one-handed jam. His tally was the margin of victory, 29 points to snap the Mavs' 6-game win streak.
Is it fair to say this is a dream come true for you, to be playing in the NBA, not only playing, but being a top player?
Oh, for sure. I mean, was actually one goal of mine. I already made that with 23, so it's amazing how fast everything went so far, and I'm just enjoying the ride right now.
You say you're not a top player. I tend to disagree. You were just voted Player of the Week, definitely an All-Star this year as well. How do you deal with your superstar status now here, not only in Germany, but in the United States now as well?
Well, it's weird because more like Shaq, I mean, he's pretty much the only one. Other than that, it's going more to the outside finesse game. I mean, they give me a lot of freedom. I don't think any other coaches would let me do that, just dribble up and then cast one up there in fast break. So, I mean, I give a lot of credit to the Nelsons because they love the up and down style, and I fit in there really well. And it's just fun to play for them because, like I said, all the players have the freedom to do whatever they want.
You've come a long way, maybe longer than you even dreamed of when you were a little kid, but obviously you're here now, you're looking ahead instead of back. What goals do you have? Still for yourself as a player and, of course, as a team?
Well, I don't really have individual goals. I mean, my goal is a team goal, and that's all.
For Utah here against Seattle, the Jazz trailed by 15 points at halftime, but Matt Harpring led them with 15 of his 26 points coming in the third, in with the jam to cut the deficit to 1. And by the time Karl Malone faked out the defender to nail a 3, the Jazz were back in tune, now leading by 10 points. Well, it's been a sorry time for the Sonics of late. A 5-game losing streak became 6, and there was further concern when their guard Gary Payton went down under a challenge from John Stockton. He was okay, though, and would recover to finish the night with 27 points. The Sonics trailed by 7 here late in the fourth, but Payton's jumper narrowed that gap to just 4. But despite playing their second game in 2 nights, the Jazz finished the stronger. Malone landed a season-high 34 points as Utah won their 5th home game in succession by 7 points.
The NBA game was against Houston, and that's when he was playing at the time, and it was amazing. I caught myself looking at him and on the court and how he moves out there, and it was just, it was amazing. And, you know, a big part of that, why I was struggling the first years, I think, because I didn't know how. I mean, I always loved those guys, and Charles Barkley and everyone, and all of a sudden, I was a little frustrated, but then end of the year we played at Washington, and I was able to go against them, and that was something special because, of course, MJ is the best ever, and you know, they just, I don't know what but they're just not clicking right now. But I think there's still a lot of basketball left, and we're not even at the half mark yet. So I think they'll be a solid playoff team, and to me, they're the team to beat. But you know, also Sacramento is looking really good. Even though they had a lot of injury problems, they really playing well together. So, I mean, those two teams, I think, are going to be teams to beat.
Well, it's definitely fun to watch you. You're the highest scoring team in the league, also have the best record in the league. Talk a little about...
Didn't know anyone, and we just started to hang out a little bit and just try to get to know each other a little better. And since then, we had a great relationship, or a great friendship, and we've been visiting each other in the summers, too. So I have a really close friendship with him. And
7 feet 1 inch in Shaq's case and 7 feet 5 in Yao's have been on a collision course all season. And Friday's contest has been given added spice by the fact that the two giants are vying for the starter's position in this year's All-Star team. After a slow start, the Chinese rookie has been one of the sensations of the season. But as the most dominant player of his generation, Shaq says he's nothing to prove.
For his new team on Friday, though, the Mavs played in Phoenix, and it was just too much Stephon Marbury on this night. Watch Marbury here in the second half drive baseline and hit the floater. Then Marbury spots up and buries a three. He had 41 points, 11 assists. The Mavs have lost 2 in a row for the first time this season. Of him, he can also do this. Look at the backwards over-the-shoulder move for the hoop, or was it? No, the referee said it didn't count. Robinson didn't like the call too much, but he still earns our admiration and the play of the day.
Professional, of course. But Yao nevertheless got busy, first with the block on Shaq, and then with the break. And he will finish with the baby jumper. Rockets down 2, though, at that point. More in the first quarter. Kobe Bryant leads the break, finds Shaq for the slam. Lakers by 11 now. Third quarter, Rockets up 4. Steve Francis drives past Bryant, gets hacked. Shaq still puts up the shot, makes it, draws the foul, Rockets by 7. Later in the third, something Shaq is not used to again, as Yao blocks his turnaround jumper. Fourth quarter now, tied at 79 apiece, but Shaq's unthwarted by the spin. As it answers and spins baseline, Lakers up 2. 17 seconds left. Steve Francis drains the 3, and we head to overtime. In overtime now, Shaq backs in on Yao and dunks it. But in the end, it was all about the Rockets, who'd come good. Yao with the slam. 108-104, Houston Rockets, the final. O'Neal edged the scoring honours, but in his rookie season, Yao's first Shaq attack saw him stack up pretty well. Yao with 10 points to Shaq's 31, but he only had 3 less rebounds, taking 10 to Shaq's 13.
Everybody gets their shot blocked. I mean, it's not the first time in my career that my shot has gotten blocked by a shot blocker, but the key is to, just keep coming. He's 7'5". He plays.
Sacramento team, game tied at 95. Late, Chris Webber drives the lane for the bucket and the foul. Kings out in front. Sacramento now leads 99-98. And LA's Quentin Richardson hits a three-pointer, putting the Clippers out in front, 101-99. Time winding down now. Clips ahead 105-103. Peja Stojakovic plays give and go. He sinks the jumper. Game tied at 105. Now just seconds left in regulation. Clippers up 110-107. Stojakovic with a 3. It bounces back off the rim. Lamar Odom gets the rebound. The Clippers beat the Kings for the first time in 6.
French star got 5 minutes under his belt for the Mavericks. Not a good day for Dallas, though. Dirk Nowitzki grabbed one of his 14 rebounds, but he got a whack in the face for his trouble. The Seattle Supersonics made life really tough for them. Their Yugoslav center, Peja Drobniak, landed 19 points, coming off the bench as well. And they were switched on defensively, restricting Dallas to only their 5th sub-90-point tally in 39 games. Michael Finley led them with just 16 points. That score again tied it up at 18 each, but a late flurry from Rashard Lewis gave this one to Seattle. He'd score 4 of his 19 in the last 43 seconds for a 4-point win, handing
In the NBA, it was Martin Luther King Day in the States, so a series of afternoon games were on the slate. Washington hosted Denver, and surprisingly, the Nuggets had the lead at the half, helped by Juwan Howard, who was playing well. He finished the game with 25 points, but his efforts weren't enough to give Denver a victory. Second half, all Wizards. Larry Hughes going all the way. Later, it's Hughes again. Jordan passes the ball down court, and he had 20 in the game. Jordan had a solid one. Nails the jumper from the outside. Struggled with shooting at first, but then rebounded well in the second half. He finished with 25, 10 of those in the fourth quarter. Nuggets lose their third straight. Wizards out on top. Elsewhere, Chicago beat Atlanta on Monday, and with a comfortable advantage late in the game, Eddie Robinson takes the opportunity to showboat a bit. A thunderous jam on a fast break, throwing the ball to himself and flushing it down. Robinson with the world sport. Head as Texas rivals San Antonio and Houston faced off in the NBA on Monday now. Yao having a decent outing, 11 points, 8 rebounds, but he would be outdone by Tim Duncan. The reigning league MVP was just too much on the night. Huge slam over the Chinese international there, and then gets the pass inside for the great hoop and the foul. 32 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks. The Spurs win it by 5. Just the 9 seconds to play. Arnoldo Surat makes it a 2-point game with a nice drive and the lay-in. And then with just 3 to play, Miami's Darius Rice steals the UConn inbound pass and puts in the amazing 3-pointer at the buzzer. Fantastic finish. Surat and Rice giving the Hurricanes an unlikely victory and getting the world sports play of the day.
Continues to get his footing in the NBA. But as Don just mentioned, there has been no rest for the weary. One night after crashing bodies with the reigning league MVP, San Antonio's Tim Duncan, Yao went up against the man mentioned as an early most valuable player candidate this season. The Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki played host to Yao and the Houston Rockets on Tuesday, and it was a difficult start for the man from China as he was swatted away there by Rafe LaFrentz. A frustrating night all around for the Rockets center. Houston works the ball in transition. Steve Francis around his back to avoid Dirk Nowitzki for the lay-in. Rockets within 3. Second period, though, Nowitzki, the big German, spins baseline. He lays it in. Mavericks up by 7. Later in the opening half, LaFrentz blocks Maurice Taylor this time, and they head the other way. Nowitzki pushing ahead to Canadian Steve Nash. He drops it back to Nowitzki. 12 of his 26 points in the night came in the second period. In the second half, Yao is blocked again by LaFrentz. Yao held to 6 points, 5 rebounds. He turned the ball over 5 times of the night. Clock winding down the third period. Nash to Michael Finley. He tips the ball in on his third try. Dallas ends a 3-game losing skid at the expense of their in-state Texas rivals. New Jersey traveled to Sacramento to hook up with the Kings. Opening period on the fast break. The Kings' Mike Bibby dishes to Chris Webber. Sacramento off and running. Peja Stojakovic getting it done for the home team. Watch the Yugoslav drain the 3 from way out. Then it's Stojakovic again. Back-to-back threes, part of a 26-point night for Peja. Second period, Jason Kidd nails the 3. New Jersey is within 6. Kidd with 27 points, but it would not be enough. Late in the game, Webber, look at the nice spin move as he hits the layup. Then, another Yugoslav, Vlade Divac gets involved. The dish to Chris Webber. Webber had 36. Sacramento 18-2 at home. In Cleveland, new Cavs coach Keith Smart hoped his players would play smart against visiting Orlando. They did early on. Lithuania's Zydrunas Igalis drains 2 of his 35 points of the night. Here comes Orlando's Tracy McGrady. He stops and hits the 3. Then he goes backdoor for the alley-oop slam. McGrady with a big 35 points of the night. Then in the third period, the Magic pull away. They lead by 20 on that 3-pointer from Pat Garrity, but they would hold on to win the game only by 9.
New Orleans Hornets beat his Washington team. For the record, This is the moment that Jordan did it, a fadeaway jumper late in the first half. But he believes stats are only really relevant years after retirement. All he was concerned about was the win. And the Hornets kept him quiet with 18 points as they won their third straight match. This is David Wesley with a three from the corner. But it was Jamal Mashburn's success against Jordan at both ends of the court that made the difference. He shot 24 in offence, that to open up a 21-point lead. And Jordan's milestone night ended on a sour and disappointing note when Charles Oakley and P.J. Brown were ejected after a minor disagreement. The Hornets held on to this one for a 9-point win. The Memphis Grizzlies won't have fancied the trip to San Antonio. They hadn't beaten them in 21 attempts, a run stretching back to February 1997. But Pau Gasol led them to victory with 28 points and 17 rebounds. We're in the third quarter here, and the Grizzlies have a 5-point lead, fueled by Gasol's jumper. Here's the Spanish forward in action again, taking the pass from Jason Williams and going in over the head of Tim Duncan. Now, the Spurs' winning streak over the Grizzlies had been their longest over any opponent, and they admitted they found the defeat a bit strange. But it was close all the way, tied at 86 here in the fourth until Williams went in for 3 of his 18 points. And with 15 seconds remaining, there were only 3 points in it. But the Spurs' Stephen Jackson missed his chance, and it was all over once Williams got the rebound. And Florida's Matt Walsh on the attack against Vanderbilt, a delightful fake, and then he passes it to David Lee, who slams it home. Look at this again. You think a behind-the-back pass is coming, but Walsh fooled everyone, helping the World Sport on the road in Memphis. But the Kings got off to a slow start. They trailed by as many as 12 points in the first half. That's Drew Gooden with the dunk. But Peja Stojakovic helped Sacramento back into it. Mike Bibby fed the Yugoslav forward on the break here. He scored 22 points, but at this stage, they were still behind. And the Grizzlies hung in there. Jason Williams kept the Kings at arm's length, driving left and to the lane for the lay-in. But the Kings ruled in the end. Bibby came through with 18 points on a late surge that clinched a 6-point win.
As you saw, after nearly 3.5 minutes of sustained applause, Jordan had to finally grab the microphone, thank the crowd, and then play some ball. He had an okay night back on his former hard court. Certainly didn't put up big numbers, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, in a game that his Wizards lost. Marcus Fizer scored 17 of his 18 in the final period. The hometown Bulls put a damper on MJ's final foray into the United Center. Here of regulation. Spurs inbounded to Tim Duncan, working against Karl Malone. Duncan cans the fall-away jumper to win the game as the buzzer sounds. Duncan scored 29 points of the night, none bigger than these two, and earning the World Sport Play of the Day.
Jersey Nets and Los Angeles Lakers was also playing under tight security. Friday's regular season clash, more relaxed. Derek Fisher with the jumper, Lakers down 3. Still in the fourth, where the Nets turned up the pressure, Jason Kidd finding Kenyon Martin for the jumper. Shaquille O'Neal will not start the All-Star game this year, as that honour has gone to Yao Ming. Shaq's not lost any confidence, though. All the same, unlike in last year's finals, there was nothing he could do to stop the Nets claiming a victory. Kidd finding Kerry Kittles for the three-pointer in an 89-83 New Jersey win. We head to break with more.
And opponents just weren't impressed. Not the least bits. Watch Tony Parker steal the pass. He takes it the other way for the lay-in, and the Spurs have an early 7-point lead. Later in the opening period, San Antonio's Tim Duncan with a spin move and the lay-in, part of a 22-point night. Spurs are up 27-12. So much for Pistons defense. More of the same in the second half. Stephen Jackson with the alley-oop. He added 20. San Antonio never threatened in this one. Malik Rose puts the finishing touches on as the Spurs post 108 points on the defensive-minded Pistons. Here's Saturday's NBA score on Saturday. Watch the defense. Nova's Andrew Sullivan blocks Ben Gordon, gets it out to his teammate Derek Snowden, who hits the half-court buzzer beater. Good D leads to a long distance 3. That's a